Welcome to IAS Market Talk, your trusted source for timely egg market insight, brought to you by Innovative Egg Services. Each week, we break down the latest beef market trends impacting Northeast Iowa and Southwest Wisconsin with expert updates tailored specifically for our IAS members. This week, you'll hear directly from Dave Rueber, IAS Beef Production Specialist, who brings decades of experience and deep knowledge of the cattle industry to these conversations. Dave has been providing market updates to producers for years, and now he brings those insights straight to you through this podcast. So tune in weekly for what you need to know, straight from people you know. With that, here's Dave Rueber with the latest on what's happening in the cattle markets this week.
David Rueber, Beef Production Specialist for Innovative Ag, calling with a beef market commentary for September 10th. We've kind of had a wild week so far this week. We had a little political intervention and some comments about beef prices being plenty high, kind of caught the futures a little bit off guard. We had a major down day yesterday. Feeder cattle down limit at 9 1/4, live cattle down $5. Now, they came back the end of the trading session today. I wouldn't say we got half of it back, but close to that. So, kind of one of those one-day deals. When that market moves big one way or the other, and the algorithm traders and stop orders start getting hit, that thing just kind of overreacts. That's what happens now when we see a big day. So, it goes from being up 3 or down 3 to being up 5 or down 5 just because it triggers a bunch of orders. So, when we got to be concerned is when that happens 2 or 3 days in a row, then you got issues. But, fortunately kind of come back today. We got an on-feed report here in a couple weeks. Fundamentals are still fine. Packers they're in the black. They're profitable. So, fundamentally we're fine. September is normally a month when we do see a weakening market. So just something to kind of keep in mind there. Looks like this cash cattle market this week is going to be softer. It was softer last week. 243, give or take a little bit, was last week's market. This week's going to be a tick softer. There's some 240 bids out there today. There was some 238, 239s yesterday that bought a few cattle in our part of the world. Us in Kansas and Texas, we're all the same price right now. Wouldn't surprise me if Texas and Kansas get to where they're a premium to what we are. They got less cattle on feed. We've increased our on feed numbers. They've decreased theirs because of the lack of Mexican feeder cattle imports. So, it's going to be a little different deal. I'm also afraid that these phenomenal basis numbers, we were dealing with a +$5, +$10 basis. I'm afraid those really good numbers are going to become half of that, maybe even closer to a zero basis. So something else that has to factor into your marketing decisions is can't bank on that tremendous basis bailing us out. Feeder cattle, cash feeder cattle, it blinked a little bit. There was some feeder cattle sold yesterday, a little bit softer. As a general rule, until these calf runs really get going, I don't look for cash feeder cattle to drop very much just because there isn't enough of them out there. So you're still talking 8-weight steers, either side of 360. The 7 weights, $15-20 higher. The 6 weights are $4. 5 weights are mid 4s. Heifers are running $20-25 back of the steers. Cost of gains right now, I'm kind of still using that 90 cents for steers and 95 for heifers. Really good cattle, that's probably plenty high. Some of these, that's probably the numbers you should be using. And that's a total cost of gain, figuring interest and yardage and everything in there. So, yeah, just kind of watch this deal. If that board's up again tomorrow, we'll probably trade cattle a little bit higher than 240. If it's steady or lower, 240 might be the market this week. Once again, my name is David Rueber, Beef Production Specialist for Innovative Ag. Thank you.
That's it for this week's episode of IAS Market Talk. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an update. And if you know a fellow producer could benefit from this information, share this episode with them. For more updates and insights, visit innovativeegg.com and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We'll catch you next time on IAS Market Talk.